Hi there. In this video I wanted to sort of get cracking with some more tools in the toolbox that you get with ArcGIS Pro, and I'm just going to do more videos around using specific tools rather than sort of Python and stuff. There'll still be the odd Python video here and there, but there's a lot available as tools, and they're very powerful. And so what I wanted to show in this video was the idea that I've got this line here. I've called it a main. It could be a pipe, could be some utility network, whatever. And I've got these four properties. And what I want to do is draw a connecting line from each property to the nearest point on the line. So like a sort of connection pipe, a service pipe or something. And I want to do that with tools rather than with sort of Python or Arcade or whatever, which you can definitely do. I mean, you could do it in a Python notebook or something and run it. But you can absolutely do that sort of thing with tools. So we're going to end up with a line starting some point on this larger line, this big line, this polyline, and then hooking to the property. That's property number 1, 2, 3, and 4, which, as you can see, I've just hand drawn. This is just drawn data. I think so. What I'm going to do first is actually use the centroids of the buildings to connect to, as that may be something you kind of want to do anyway. And then, as a sort of part B of this same video, we'll take the nearest point of the polygon to the line. So here we go. So if we just open up my some buildings, I think it's just some basic information there. There's nothing, just an address, so you can see what the property sort of number is. There's number 1 there. Now what we can do is go to the tools, and I'm going to get the centroids of those buildings. There's a tool called feature to point, he says. There it is. Feature to point is a way of generating centroids. So you can do it sort of in Arcade and stuff, but again, so this is one tool I'm using and showing you. So my input features, I'll drag across some buildings, and I'll make sure it's inside. And I think actually when it does it, it uses sort of gravity point. So be fully contained by the input feature. Yeah. So actually with the shape of these polygons, that's sort of neither here nor there really. I've got one record selected. I'll turn that off. I want to use all of them. And the output feature class, let's actually write that to the database, not to my default one, and we'll call it buildings centroids. So that's going to go into the my own geodatabase. So I'll click run. It's obviously very quick. There's only 4 records, and then we'll see building centroids here. You see attributes. Now these are you can see these dots, these points on the map. Actually, if I just turn off labeling of some buildings, let's just turn those off so you can see them. Yeah, and let's just, I don't know, make it a red square or something. There we go. And so you can see it's generated the centroids. They're the centroids of my buildings. And they're my buildings. Let's just clear the selection. Now we've got the centroids. What we want to say is we want to connect effectively a line, draw a line from those points to the nearest point on the line. Now we can So we need XY to do that. Now that there is a sort of, you could do a calculate geometry, of course you could, because if you do calculate geometry, you can have new, you can type in the new fields there for X and Y, you can do that, or you can use the tool. And I'm going to use a tool just for that, you know, a purpose, just to show you the tool really. So the tool to create the X and Y coordinates of your points and add them to the table is simply add XY coordinates, you see. And the input features are the building centroids. And so when I run this, and now look at attribute table, I've now got point X and point Y actually stored. It's British National Grid, that's why those coordinates look like that. So again, that's another tool, add XY coordinates. Very handy, and it's just like calculate geometry really. So once we've got that, we can now locate from the X and Y the nearest point on this pipe. Again, it's a tool. We're going to run the near tool. It's one of the analysis tool. The input features is going to be the building centroids, and the near features is the main pipe. We'll limit the search radius just for making it a quicker process. One thing you can do here, let's just make sure that's meters actually, is one thing as well you would want to do is click on location. You could also add the angle, but location is the key thing here, because what it's going to do is find the nearest point on this line and then pick up the X and Y and write it to near X and near Y. So let's run that. Right, so it didn't take too long, but you can see now we've got a sort of starting point X and Y, so that's the centroids, to the nearest point X and Y, which is on this line. So all we need to do now is XY to line. So here goes another tool, XY to line, there it is, data management tool. Input table is the building centroids, and start is from our X and Y, that's our start of the centroid of the building, and we want to end on the nearest X and Y. You know, I mean, we're not really traveling a great distance here, so you can just make it planar, but it's your choice here. You can read up a bit about that, but using geodesic and etc. Takes in mind the curvature of the earth and stuff, and that applies to many and many other tools, most of them in fact. The ID I'll take as address, and make sure you get the right spatial reference. You could probably cause an error actually if you you know, with the wrong reference, you know, rather than come out with gobbledygook, it would probably just crash it. But anyway, not crash it, just stop it. Let's preserve all the attributes. I want to record everything. Let's run. There's one thing I didn't really clarify just then. You see here, that's memory. So what I've done here with this output feature class, building centroids XY to line, it's called it by default, is it's going to put it in memory. It's going to store it in memory, and that rather than in a database. And that's what you can do with that as soon as you press that. So in fact, sorry, what I meant to say was, if I pressed it, it would have stored it in memory. So it puts the keyword there, memory / and then the name. If you haven't pressed it, then it would go into the database, and this has gone into the database, so that's not in memory. So memory is a good way. There's something that QGIS open source has had for years to do processing and output in memory. Very, very handy. Anyway, as you can see, it's a good result. We've got lines from our polygon centroids, and it goes all the way to the nearest point, on the main sort of pipe, which is pretty good. That's what I wanted from the centroids. And you can see it's got all my original information. So up there would be, so address 1, is it? Yeah, address 1, and then down here would be address 4. It says if you click on it, there you go, address 4. So I've still got all my sort of source data. So that's pretty good. That's gone central to centroid, and may be applicable for certain applications, certain requirements. But what if you want to actually just have this line here connected to the very nearest point on the edge of the polygon? Well, the most sort of precise and precise way of sort of doing that would be you know, probably a bit of Python, and go from there. But you can still do it pretty well. You know, I'm talking millimeters most likely, using the tools. So I'll probably do a video actually on precision and the like. Anyway, so what we can do sort of now is another tool, and that's called a near table, a generate near table. And we could have actually just jumped straight to this really and done it, but I wanted to do the centroid so you can see, oh, this is how you get the you know, you can add X, Y from a tool rather than just calculate geometry. You can get the generate the points from a feature, how you get the centroids. So you've seen a few new tools there, I hope, if they are new to you. So what we can do here is say that actually our input features, so this can be, you know, a polygon or whatever. So we're going to jump straight to the polygon, some buildings. So, and the near bits, I want the main pipe. So I'm not having anything to do with centroids and the like. I'm just going feature to feature, and I'm going to put this in memory. So I've clicked the memory. I'm only restricting the search radius just for you know, speeding it up a bit so it's not looking too far. I'll leave it on planar, make sure that it's in meters, and let's store the location, and actually we can store the angle as well, if that could be useful. I'm just going to run it. Now what this actually creates is literally what it says on the 10, generate near table. It outputs a table. So if you look down here, let's just close that one, I've got this table. So if you open the where is it, open, you can see all the information that was generated from that generate near table process. So you see how we've got a distance, which is handy. Actually, it's loads of precision there. I'll definitely do a video on that, I think. Lots of precision there. Then there's from X and to Y, and I've even got the angle, which could be used for something. Anyway, so from X from Y, and what you do with that is X, Y to line. We just do X, Y to line again. So let's do X, Y to line, and then there it is, X, Y to line. Input table is that one I've just done. Output feature, I'll just put it in memory again. Is that just a warning? Oh, I'll call it let's just call it some buildings closest. There you go. Oh yeah, it was quite similar in name. So okay, so I'm still going to put it in memory. Some buildings and the closest bit of it. Start X is from. It's all the from X, from Y, and then the nearest point that I calculated. GD set whatever, and check this out. We need to change that. Actually, let's just change that to in FID, which will give our house numbers. I think. But that needs to be the current map, which is British National Grid, and let's preserve all the attributes I've got in here, so we're going to end up with quite a few, but that doesn't matter. So now I run this, and you can see the difference of what's going to happen from running this. And you can see now, if I turn off the original ones from the centroids, you can see now how it just connects to the nearest point on the polygon with a line, with our sort of connection point. It hasn't, just to clarify, it hasn't sort of broken them up with a sort of node, or vertex with a node. But yes, there's a vertex at the end, but it's not sort of split this up. And that's the kind of thing you'd need for topology, but that's a different story. That's a different video. The point is, I just wanted to have these connection lines connected from house to main pipe, and also know what the distance was. So I know I've got near this day. So if I did, let's just open that attribute table. Yeah, so it's got near dist in there. So if I did labels, let's just turn on labeling, and then go to label properties, and it's just near dist, and we could floor this. Yeah, to nearest 2 decimal places. Let's just check that. There you go. And let's apply. There you go. Actually, we should. Let's add meters. There you go. That's a bit better, isn't it? So, so there you go. Anyway, I hope you like. Hope that video is useful. I've just wanted to show a variety of tools, and I've ended up with this. This bit of much more sort of GIS-y type work taking place, which I hope you'll find useful. It could be part of some sort of data processing, because it's in the toolbox, of course. You can whack it into Modeler and do whatever, and turn that into Python and go from there if you really want it automated in some notebook manner. Anyway, like I said, hope you find that useful. Thank you.